All right, this is gonna sound a little crazy, and I can think of at least one person who's gonna hate me for saying this, but right now, we have more water than we know what to do with. A day or so ago, we picked up another 2 inches of rain, and the pond is over 100% full. And you might ask, Adam, how do you have a pond more than 100% full when you have an overflow? Well, of course you cap it. Let me finish giving you the rest of the tour here, and then I'll talk about why that overflow is capped. So in addition to the pond being 101% full, the swamp is still swamping. Got to get this pumped down again. It was almost completely dry about 2 weeks ago until the rains picked back up. More on that in a moment. And while it's not necessary, the well pump is still, well, pumping. And there's a lot of dad jokes right there. Probably could turn this thing off, but we're just gonna let it rock for now. We have a very strong aquifer, and with the rains we've had lately, probably need some pumping off. Truly, the pond has never looked this good this early in the year. The water clarity is on point. Look how perfectly clear that water is, aside from the dye that's out there. Man, you can't be mad about that. So we're gonna work on these trouble areas today. So we're gonna open the overflow, pump this down back here, and we're gonna jump out in the boat. This being said boat, which I affectionately refer to as the SS John Beer. I certainly hope you get that dad joke. The SS John Beer. I really need to get this thing painted up, don't I? And we're gonna see just how deep this pond is. When we dug this thing in the summer of 2019, we absolutely had spots that were 25 feet deep, or we had thought anyway. Problem is, it was 25 feet deep and we had no water. Over the years, we brought all the water in to bring it full. Silt came with it. I would be surprised if we find any 25-foot spots, but we're gonna give it a go. So first things first, we're gonna go open the other end of this overflow. So if you're new here and you don't know, you might say, Adam, why is your overflow capped? That seems weird. And it kind of is. That overflow is like an 8-foot or 10-foot tall concrete pipe. Got about 3-inch sidewall, 18 or 20 inches in diameter on the inside. When we built the pond, the farmer next door who helped us set that pipe vertical, drilled a hole in the side of it, and have a 6-inch line discharging out the side. The problem is that concrete pipe was open-ended on both ends, and the bottom is just full of packed gravel, and the hydrostatic pressure from the pond is forcing water up through the bottom of that pipe, hitting the side discharge and coming out and draining our pond when it's not even full. That may or may not make sense, and one day I will fix it, but for now, we just cap it. So there's the capped overflow. Probably need myself a little splash block. Got a bit of erosion going on. This is a $12 or $20 fix. Way easier and cheaper than messing with digging that overflow or trying to do something more crazy to it. And honestly, I only have to do this like once or twice a year right now. April, May time frame when the pond's crazy full and a lot of heavy rains. Otherwise, getting our pond to full or above is actually a bit of a struggle. We don't have a big watershed feeding this pond. It's simply a giant cereal bowl in the ground. As I put my hands in poison ivy here. Oh yeah. There we go. Oh, a little bit of pressure. All right. Look out downstream. Again, a great place to rinse off your boots. Man, that's a lot of water. All right, go check the other end. Isn't that cool looking? See the water kind of come over the edge like that? Should be running for a while. Let's go turn this on. This is the discharge pipe from the swamp. All right, let's get this garbage out of here. Trash pumps are awesome. Based upon how often I've done this or how many times I've done this, I would say this is every bit of a few hours. At least a couple hours wide open. Just put it on about half throttle for now. One thing I don't want to do is run dry when I'm out there in that boat trying to check depth. And I can already hear the comments from you guys. Adam, fix your swamp. Why do you waste your time doing this? Adam, fix your overflow. That's stupid. Hey guys, if I was retired and my children were grown, then sure, I'd make that priority one. These things are on the list, just way down the list. Way more important priorities in life. These are Band-Aids, but they work. Obviously, I'm doing something right out here. It's gorgeous. So there we go. We got the combination of the discharged swamp water hitting the overflow and the water off the pond. Dang, she's running now. I really do need to get a rock there. So they can go find something real quick. Imagine if that trash pump was wide open too. It's a lot of water. I probably just moved the erosion pattern, but hey, it looks cool. I didn't even get wet doing it. Quite the water feature. This thing was such an awesome purchase. All right, just about ready to head out on the boat and check depth. I don't know if you guys can see two giant carp right there. I'm gonna keep it simple. I'm gonna use a 300-foot tape with a D-ring as a weight on here so I can easily reel this up once it's down there. Way easier than messing with a long rope, and I don't have a pole with a gauge on it. All right, let's do some boating. I love being out here on the water. I really do need to get an upgraded setup here. Working on that. What do you say? Start here by the aerator and see kind of where we are. Hopefully this thing has enough recoil I can feel it bounce back after it's down. Tell you what, anything close to 20 feet, that's a lot of water. All right, we're on bottom right there. 19'5". Not 25, but man, that's a lot of water. I bet there's better deep spots though. Let's go close to the other aerator here. There's one like big tranche in here. I remember we dug the pond, it just went straight down. How'd you ruin a 300-foot tape? Well, you won't believe it. Consistent, 19.5. You're having 18. Okay, the deep spot's out further than I thought. It's only 12 feet deep right there. Only 12 feet. Some people who have a pond are probably cursing me right now. 12 feet deep pond's pretty good size. And to my standards. 18.3, 18.2, 17.8, 17.7. All right, I'm gonna keep going, and if I find a good one, I'll let you know. It might take a minute. All right, so after 7 years of it filling up, we are not quite as full as we were, or deep as it would have been when we first dug this thing. Still pretty impressive. 20 feet, 2 inches is as deep as I found. And I'm not surprised I didn't find anything much deeper than that. When I made that cut back there to first fill this thing in, it brought a ton of sediment with it, and of course it always goes to the low spots. I also don't know if I hit all the spots at all or not. It's a pretty big body of water, but let me cruise around and kind of show you what I found. So the deepest spot of the pond is really kind of from where I'm sitting toward that aerator head, over the other aerator head, and back to the dock. This big square here, 100 feet or so from the dock is my guess. Probably about 70 feet, 60 feet out to the aeration head there, but a pretty good sized square. I would say everything in that square has an average depth of about 18 feet. Almost everything I pulled out here was plus 18 feet. A lot of 19s and change out here. And I think the 20-foot 2 spot I got was between the aeration heads, kind of right here in front. Aside from that far side there, anything, call it 30 feet off the shoreline, nothing less than 12 feet. Pretty good depth as soon as you get away from the shore. So it doesn't shallow up like a lot of ponds would. Take a look at this boil here on the aerator while we're out here. That's some fine bubble diffusion. Looking good. If you need an aeration system, I got a video all about that if you want to check that out. Up here by the dock, I was curious for diving purposes. I would say 5 feet, 6 feet off the dock. It's about 9 to 10 feet deep. You get about 10 to 12 feet off the dock and it's instantly 18. There's a big drop off kind of right here. So not probably the best to dive, you know, straight down off there, but if you're jumping out and diving, you should be just fine. Right there off the corner, it's about 9 feet, kind of carries across into the sandy area. I'll check on this pump over here. Sucking in there. When you get out here close to this thing, that is a lot of water. Look at how much water is leaving the pond right now. That's pretty insane. You stay on the shoreline, it looks cool, it sounds cool, but check that out. Alright, let's get out of here before I knock that off there. I might put like a Johnson 50 on this thing. What do you guys think? Good idea? Bad idea? Starting to get seasick. So yeah, big picture in the spring of 26, the pond's doing fantastic. No real complaints. I probably ought to get the bacteria and stuff in the water real soon. I'm probably living on borrowed time. It always looks really good until it doesn't. It just creeps up on you fast. And you're better off to do preventative maintenance than try to play catch up. So I better get that in the water real soon before the temperatures ramp up on me. Also check this out. I had thought that was algae out there floating around. It's actually like clips of grass. See if I can back up here and show you closer. So no algae issues yet, but my grass carp have been running around the edges of the pond and just destroying everything that they get their little mouths on. I mean, look at that. That's actual, you can see that's sod right there. Take a look at that. That is in fact grass. I'm not mad about it. It's not like I planted it or anything. They do a pretty good job of keeping the shorelines looking nice. And maybe that's why the pond looks so good right now. So like I said, we have the water for now. Happy about that. And managing, you know, the overflows where we can or need to. I know that this is going to change. The rains will slow down in July and August. We won't have these massive inflows. And we'll be relying on the well pump to keep us full, which I think it will keep up with evaporation. That's how it was sized. But one thing I didn't mention, I'm going to show you right now, is we are still leaking. I made a video last fall when we tried to address these issues, and I think we slowed it, but I'm pretty confident we're still leaking. Check this out. So if you will recall, one of the areas we fixed on the pond last fall was this giant run right here where the topsoil is all disturbed. Basically, we cut a core trench into the pond right here, backfilled it with some good clay, because we had a lot of seepage down in this area. Now you're going to see some standing water here because, like I said, we got 2¼ inches of rain last night or so. This is still leaking some. It's leaking enough to make this area damp and soggy. However, I know it's better because I've already taken the grasshopper through here this year and it does not rut it up like it used to. So perfectly fixed? No. Slowed? Absolutely. But this was never a major leak. This wasn't material volume we were losing here. This was just making this area a headache. Now this spot over here is interesting. 35, 40 years ago, this was just an ag field. And so as we are putting the pond in, we ran into clay tile kind of running through here in the pond. You can see some remnants of it right here. And what we found last fall was we had water leaching into an old clay tile and running under the barn or behind the barn and discharging over there into the ravine. We found one of those spots, dug it up, crushed the pipe, capped it with concrete, and things seem to be a lot better. And that's kind of a quick and dirty explanation. If you want to see that in action, there's a video, I'll link it down below. Fast forward to today, and we are still getting a lot of water discharging from this pipe. Now, some of that could be groundwater leaching into that clay pipe and coming in here. I mean, that's the whole point of it, right? It was a field tile. However, this continues to run even when everything else is dry. So I'm pretty confident this is still pond water. We're going to know here real soon, once I put more dye in the pond, make it that real deep blue, because then you look down through here and you can see the dye settling. And while I want to fix the end on the pond side, it's kind of a guessing game. I don't exactly know where the water's leaching in. I found one last year, crushed it, capped it with concrete, and then backfilled it with clay and packed it in. You would think that'd stop it. So is that one leaking? Is it another pipe? Is there a bunch of Ys feeding this? I don't know. So for now, my plan, at some point here in the near future, I'm going to dig down, find that clay pipe, which I know it's about 3 feet because I put my hand in that hole before and reached in and found the lip of it. But I'm going to dig it out, put a rubber boot on it, transition to Schedule 40 PVC, and I'm going to bring a riser up until I get to the height that matches the water level of the pond. I'm guessing we're going to be about 4 feet, 3 feet maybe. And per physics, once I have the pipe high enough to match the water level of the pond, water should no longer be able to bubble up and discharge. We'll see. That's my idea. I'm going to hopefully get to that here the next month or so when the ground kind of dries up a little bit. It's a little soggy to be digging right now. It'll probably be hand digging because my sewer runs right through there. Nonetheless, I'm sure there are alternatives or better ideas out there. Let me know. I thought about getting a sewer scope and running it up that clay pipe and kind of walking where I am now and standing above it and trying to find it. There are always better, more optimal solutions, but sometimes you got to balance time, effort, and money with those solutions. So we're going to see how this thing goes. If that stops it, I have no problem just making that the fix for now. Because it's early May, the pond is full, it is clear, and I want to enjoy this thing with my family. I don't want to have to drain it down 4 or 5 feet so I can work on the dam or whatever it may be and not have it being ready to go, have water up to the beach for all the kids. This is what it's for. It's for friends and family to enjoy, and damn it, we're going to do just that. Damn it, we're going to do just that. I am just killing it with the dad jokes today. The old beach could use some work though. Got an erosion problem right there. But hey, that means there's more sand in the water. All right, guys, if you enjoyed this one, hit that subscribe button, come back and see me. Stick around, a whole lot more fun projects in the way with this pond. See you guys next time. Take care.